Spurge here, and in this video we are going to break down the Icon El Bajo2 CE boots. So new from Icon is the El Bajo2s. This is Spanish for the Bajo, and this is the second version of this low-cut boot. Now if you're looking at this and you're thinking it looks familiar, first of all there was a version 1, but really this takes its DNA from the Elsinore, specifically now the Elsinore 2, and that's been a pretty favorite boot within Icon's lineup for years at this point. And really what you're going to see here is something that's a bit lower cut. So if you want to take a step up to the Elsinore 2, that would give you your full height boot, comes in around $225. The El Bajo2s are the lower cut version. This is going to be coming in around $180. There's a lot you're going to get for this. We are going to talk about the updates that you're going to see, but the main point is that it is a full cowhide brush construction, and sizes will range from 7 up to 14. There are some half sizes between 8.5 up to 11.5. The only colorway is the black version you're going to see on the table in front of me. My only real nitpick here is I've always really liked the Elsinores in that kind of a brushed, like almost an antique brown kind of a color. It would have been really great to see Icon release this boot in that same brown, especially because this is your casual everyday boot. I don't like wearing a black boot personally for my everyday casual. I do prefer a brown. So just something to note there, maybe a future iteration we get that brown version as well. But if you're looking for just an everyday boot, something to wear around town, something where you don't want that full height protection, but you still want something that's CE rated, this is going to be a great option for you. Classic style to it, easy in, easy out. And when we're talking about the construction on this, like I said earlier, it is a brushed cowhide main construction. This is a bit different than the previous version though. It's got a different hand to it, very soft, very supple leather. It is going to be reinforced at the toe, reinforced at the heel, so you're going to have really solid reinforcement there. You're also getting the D3O at the lateral and the medial side, so D3O on both sides of the boot. And the one thing that they did change was that the Achilles, one of the complaints on the previous version was that the rear was too tall and it was causing some discomfort for everyday use. So you can see they actually scooped back out the Achilles a little bit here to give you all-day comfort if you're wearing this walking around and not taking it off when you get to the office. Overall height is roughly 6 to 7 inches, and then really from a sole standpoint, and what we're talking about here is the rigidity of the sole when you're walking around, it's about a 5 out of 10. This is something that would fall right in the middle, not an extremely rigid sole, but also something that's going to give you support as well. Now the sole does have that classic stitched look to it. It is a rubber sole, and you can see the zigzag pattern on the bottom is exactly what you would find if you were looking at the bottom of an Elsinore 2 boot. So again, that DNA really carries through. So a lot of those similarities. Now, from a changes standpoint, the other thing that's changed on this is the buckles on the right-hand side. Now, these are just for show, so take this for what it's worth. They're just a bit harder to use than the previous buckles. It's almost like they made them a bit more complicated than they need to be. Now, luckily, these buckles are just decorative. You're not undoing these buckles every single time you put the boot on and off. You kind of set it and forget it as to where you want that to sit. And then the entry point is on the inside of the boot. You do have a YKK zip, and then that's how you get into the boot itself. So once you set those buckles over there, you really shouldn't have to worry about that too often. Now I like the fact that there's no laces here. There's nothing to get caught up in the chain on your motorcycle. It just really works out nicely. The only other thing to note is that when these come out of the box, they are a bit, at least ours were, just needed to be broken in. They're a little bit kind of squished down and flattened. I would expect, based on what I've seen from previous versions of the El Bajo and the Elsinore, once you wear these a few times, they're going to break in really nicely, and that real, leather or the actual leather construction to this will break in a lot more than what a synthetic boot would do. So if you're someone that likes your boots to kind of look worn in and to have, a little bit more patina as you wear them, this is something that after a few rides, it's going to break in really nicely. Now, if you're looking at the left boot and the right boot, you'll see there's, symmetrical design here. So you do have a shift pattern that's going to carry through on both. So if you're shifting, you have that little area to kind of grab the shifter with. My only nitpick there is I wish it was kind of shifted down just a little bit into the toe. I have a tendency to shift a little bit more with the top of my toe than I do back up on top of my foot. But again, a minor nitpick there. Obviously, you're not going to be using that too much on the right-hand side, because your right-hand side, that's your brake. That's what slows you down. But if you're wearing Icon stuff, you're not worried about going slow. You're going fast. So you're probably not going to wear out that bottom part on the old brake pedal anytime soon. Now, really, for those of you out there looking for a classic all-around town boot, again, the Elsinores have been a real favorite throughout Icon's lineup over the past few years from just a classic look standpoint. And with the Bajo2s, the El Bajo2, this is going to be something that is just giving you a little bit more usability on a day-to-day basis. Now, there's a lot of people out there that are already using Icon, that are already using these boots. So if you want to hear more about what they have to say, you can click the link to read other rider reviews from folks that are already out there putting this boot through its paces. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to one of our customer service representatives, and they can walk you through all the different boots that are available to make sure that you find the right boot for your riding style, as well as the aesthetic that you're looking for. You know, you got to have a boot that looks cool while you're on the bike. So I want to thank you for joining us today for this look at the Icon El Bajo2s. I'm Spurge. Enjoy the ride.